Liu Zhang tries to use magic to stop the bodies now rising from the dead, but they will not obey. But we learn one corpse is missing eyes, and they learn back to the memory that Jing Chang and Song Lan bring Zhu Cheng to punishment. Ni Hu Zhang attempts to unalive Zhu Ming as Yu Yang poisons Lan Song. Already, this is the most long-winded amount of revenge in a single passage. Liu Zhang finds someone who's stopping his power and tries to stop the zombies best he can. He fails so that they escape, so he tries to talk to Zan, and Ling Ting Chin warns them about the corpses being poisoned, which is pretty strange in its own. They try to escape fighting as it reveals that Xing Cheng is not who he says he is, and he's used demonic cultivation. Apparently, Xing Cheng was Zhu Cheng this whole time, as he poisoned Ling to put him to sleep. The guy in the show is pretty enchanting, though, not gonna lie. But some of the scenes are just hilarious, especially his little snaps. Even if it was pretty twisted, he is kind of like the Joker, you know? He just does what he wants at this point, from what we see. Zun realizes something that has been working with Zhu Cheng this whole time. They find a second arm of the cursed corpse from now and return to the Yi city to honor the dead. Liu Zhang is disappointed when he doesn't sinning either. They begin to learn to go as they have the demonic corpse, and they learn at the whereabouts of the little apple now finding this fairy dog. Poor dog. It was a little cute moment between all the violence, even when they said little apple was a gift from Zan. Good callback, not gonna lie. It was pretty saddening, and the eras of the past was reenacted by children while Zan and Liu Zhang watched. It's almost like history has to be repeated when it was all propaganda in years. I thought this was really clever too, for the most part. Especially stories that have the ability to be able to turn like the worst events in history into children's stories. Take note, One Piece is very good at this too. Zan still offered children beings with a sense of humor restored. We are getting to one of the most intimate parts of the story. Zan and Liu Zhang find an inn to stay the night somewhere. Both the two are drunk from drinking with Zhan Jing. Zan offers Liu Zhang gifts, but Liu Zhang doesn't accept it. Not even money. It becomes almost like a date from the way it was censored in the show. It was more than just a date, though. We all know this. Playing the flute together and looking so deeply in each other's eyes. And I gotta say, the manga, it felt so much more comedic with the innkeeper taunting them and setting up for a nice room. Also, the censorship as well made it clear that there was much more going on than we know. I know it's already known, but it's still. The scenes of them in the bath and the bedroom, much more personal. And it's a shame it was censored in the Untamed show. But hey, at least in the show, Zan gives us a lot of sweet interactions. And while Zan sleeps afterwards, Liu Zhang goes outside to find Ling Ming, only to find a control nail stuck in his skull. It pulls out, of course, and Ning tells him sorry. He unalives Yun. A pretty good shocker, to say the least, even if Liu Zhang is fine with everything now. He wants him to move past this, though, and he doesn't want him to be stuck in the past. The funniest scene actually happens after this, though. And it happens as Liu Zhang leads Zan from the inn find chickens. And Zan offers him a fat chicken as a form of marriage. Yeah. Then the second one, it's just so funny he does this, just suddenly just goes up. Especially for someone so seriously, just to grab a chicken and say, hey, marriage. Even carving their names drunkenly in wood, cuddling them in animals, this is just wholesome stuff. It just was. The day after Liu Zhang wakes from the nightmare, both couples watch children play. They converse about the lawn and offer interest to talk about eating. But the most important he needs to know if Liu Zhang trusts him. Leave a town, walking to a deserted area. Zombies attack. A strange guy in a ghost mask makes Zan remind him of the past as it goes after him. Liu Zhang leads a bunch of kids away before they checked for being poisoned after all this from this interrogator. It's good to know that Liu Zhang is so good with kids. Despite his dark upbringing and corruption, of course, he would be a dad material. Even then he processes that the kids had the best life now, more than ever. Liu Zhang plays teacher, helping the kids and teaching how to cook as Zan shows up wanting him to go. We get an A-Queen cameo as the kids hide while the grown-ups fight. It's actually Song Lan, who is a real threat and zombie trying to alive them. It's up to Liu Zhang to be the one to save the day through harnessing the resentful energy and absorbing it and learning that Song Lan had been a controlling nail the whole time. The second one to this date. so we now have a clue of what's happening. But I wonder who's doing it. Wu Xing tries to figure out what happens to no avail. We don't know he's actually Zhu Wing, and it makes the kids his hostages. Man, terrible guy at this point. But still, we learn that a bit more of his philosophy of why he does this. When Ning comes up to kick his ass, it's more like a corpse on corpse violence at this point, with Ning and Song Long fighting. The fight we learned that Xing Jing was in the coffin and alive this whole time. He must help restore the soul, but Wu Xing refuses, so Yang escapes. The cute poisoning done, of course, for the blind girl shows up. It was all for naught for cultivators. Another twist, we find that Wu Xing injured at the end of this discovery. What a way to introduce a villain, still. Especially Wu Xing and Zan try to figure out what happened to her. I learned that Wu Xing tried to save her with no avail. When the atrocities happened, Wu Xing cut out everyone's tongue, among other questionable things. A couple years later, Yu Cheng is attacked by Song Jing with his tongue removed. Su Ying discovers a girl by Ik Ching and saw him to do the deeds, and Xing Qing stabs him with this and tries to find him. Zhu Ying humiliates Xing Qing with his words revealing he killed Song Jin and makes Xing Qing cry tears of blood. It's really sad, but there is a human element, I promise, it's coming. The feeling makes him stab himself as Xing himself reminds him of his past. At least Zan offers him out of kindness. Lan goes after Yang, and as Wu Xing summons all the corpses to get rid of the corpses left by Yang, it's kind of poetic how he denies what he does and does bad things for all the right intentions, unlike Zhu Qing, who finds joy in all these actions. When Zhu Qing tries to escape in the resentful mist before Ying alerts others of his location, Wu Xing releases Song Lan of his servitude to Yang, and they go after him. Wu Xing and Nan realizes that Yang unalived the whole Chen sect, revenge for Ying Qing. See? Only good things he did, along with keeping Xing Qing alive before he bled out. I feel like there was something more here with these two. It brings up the question of why? What was Yu Qing's motives? He did terrible things, but he had honor? Hard to say. This doesn't make him less of an abuser and kind of a pretty bad person still, but it makes him much more complex than we just see him as just some crazy Joker-type character who just loves doing bad things because chaos. And when his life is ended by Zan and Wu Xing, you can kind of feel bad for him, just a little bit. I mean, he was an interesting character still. But, and you think about it now, Wu Xing and Zhu Ying, they both had pretty bad childhoods. But they found one of them found the right person. That was Wu Xing, and he actually became a better person because of it. Ultimately was Zhang and Ying who leaded Yu Wing on this path. Even if he was kind to everyone, his actions, he can't be forgiven. Afterwards, with Ying's funeral, it's really sad. The souls are released finally and can rest in peace. They all leave across the Fringe Festival, and some memories of surface as Wu Xing sees a child looking similar to Yun and tries not to think about it. And you would think that Lan Zunhe as Yun, tell him he's still alive, please. His friend is still alive. Just why does Lan not say anything about it? I don't get it. I really don't. It seems like Yu Xing is delving into dark arts and losing in Zan learned that Jin Yu Go would be involved with all these issues going around. Even Zan's brother tries to reason with him as he would ignore him. When Xing Qing shows up and Wu Xing hits it off, and they decide to investigate what is happening. Although Zhu Ying was evil, I do think his presence made things more interesting because it does feel right now it's getting a little slow, but his ending was good. It needed to happen still. They need to go to Yanling to investigate and can say that the leader Min Yao of the Jin clan is such a sketchy slob. Yeah, this guy, especially to his wife, I do have a lot to say about him, and I don't like him. He's just so sketchy. So Wu Xing uses paper dolls to follow Min Yao in the hidden room. Already I'm getting red flags. We see on what exactly? The head of the Blade Master from earlier, when Min Yao stabbed the general. Yeah, the flashbacks show that he fought the Wind Clan and learned a strange song by a flute to manipulate others, making the Red Blade unalive himself in madness. Once Xing finds out that he tells the others with what happened, The Jin Clan are happy with it, and they come bursting in. They were spied on. It helps that Min Yao's wife takes it upon herself to off herself because of the shame that he brought upon this clan. But now Wu Xing is being portrayed as a villain, even if you try to bring good. I just... wow. As they make their escape from Jin Clan, Yin Ling learns of his true identity. Wu Xing collapses and wakes up in the Long Clan while being tended to. And the shocking thing is Min Yao might be innocent because of nepotism. Defending a messed up person like this. That's such a nice thing to hear. It's sure not like reality, is it? No. Wu Xing wakes up and finds Lan Zijing and wants to know what Min Yao, and while Elan is tending to his important matters. Wu Xing learns that the scars back earlier were caused because he defended Wu Xing long ago. Learning about Lan's childhood, especially how he became so attached because of his mother's passing, is sad, yet it works for his character so well. Zan now has suspicions of the death of Jin Wu Xing was Min Yao, who used his flute to mess with his head, and Wen Ning's too for that matter. Lan Xinqing is followed and asked by Min Yao because of two, but he says nothing. Lan Wangji and Wu Xing meet up on their adventures again afterwards, though, and they enter a house of former Jin Clan called Min Min, and she was pushed out of because of prejudice. Meet up with Wen Ning or attacked by zombies again. They find Jing and a lot of cultivators with Ning's help there until the latest cultivator think Wen Xing is the true villain. Shame to see a victim in all this mess still. Su Shi is someone that comes up in all this. Questioned by Xing, who left the Blood Clan. I didn't know what was happening until I realized he was suspected supporter of Min Yao. He sold Wu Xing out in the end. Zombies fight to continue to break out while he continues info for Zhu Shi. And Jin Ling now wants revenge on Wen Ning for the death of his parents. But Jin Qing intervenes, wanting to stop it until the zombies are handled first. Yeah, it makes sense. You gotta handle the issue before we all start getting eaten. The clans are all meet together, and while the worst parts happen for Min Yao, his father made women sleep with him a lot. And Yao covered his tracks by using his powers to make his father sleep with women until he unalived. I mean, all is to become the leader of the Jin Clan. I mean, it just makes sense that why he's so messed up now. It's angered by the suffering of not getting laid. Like, really, dude? He got married, his sister pregnant before they even got married. And just more that they was put into some stuff to his father's actions on women. That wasn't hey, how he decided it was fine, but his father messing up so much that he becomes this way. There is something to it, I think, but still, we look at the examples of Wu Xing and Zhu Yang, and these people that just become messed up or corrupted in such a way, they can change, but why did he not? It doesn't make me hate how he decided it was fine, but his childhood does make his life more sense now still. Even after this, he's still marrying his wife in the end. Luckily, his dirty secrets are out in the public, and all the clans are angry. Wu Xing and Zan leave as things get crazy. They take a moment to pay respects to the fallen Jin Clan. Even when they are seen as the bad guys, a fight happens, and Wu Xing passes out when Yin comes in to get Jin Clan. Even if he tries to prove his innocence, we learn that Wu Xing passed out from all this realization of the dark arts. I mean, I find this weird, but I guess with how he used it, it took a mental toll, and physically it did him in that instance. Lan Wangji learns of sacrifice Wu Xing did for him and asked Wen Ning to keep it a secret as they head out to the Lotus Bridge. They all arrive in Yunping City to search for Meng Yao, and Lan Zanjin shows up. I thought he was working for him until Jin Ling is captured. Fights happen and Wu Xing is captured and revealed that Lan Zanjin was Magilus by Wen Yao. Along with others, powerless. Jing Cheng still finds his way to go over Men Yao in a fight, but Wu Xing learns that both Zan and Qin know the truth. Qin and Wu Xing have a convo after the battle about the past and happily reconcile. We find the Red Master's body from the head previously, when the unaliving was done by Min Yao and Jin Yuzan. Even though Wu Xing taunts Yao like a Chad and tries to bring back bad memories about the people he unalived. It's kind of dark, but I mean, he kind of deserves it in this instance. Min Yao was defeated to capture Lan Zhenjin. Sin falls to his knees crying, realizing that Yao has been for the first time. Lan Zhanqing questioned Yao as someone else would be on why he would want to marry his half-sister. Lance only did this so to create a rift in the family, also saying he loved his wife, how the truth shattered him. I guess I can get behind his guilt was there, but he can't be excused. But he does have a consciousness, so he's not totally evil. A lot of characters in this are really evil as well, but just kind of morally gray. I do think that Yao is just something that was caused by circumstance, but he still took action to be a bad person. Yu Yang as well. I just think that he's not really a good person, but he did have some good intentions overall. He could have become a good person with Wu Zhang. But even then, Wu Zhang is caused as a villain, after all, but still sacrificed all he could to become a better person. But then he reveals because of the rid of Xin Yuying, just because he felt like he didn't deserve appreciation from his clan. I take it all back now. Screw Yao. It's been Wen Ying possessed by the cursed bodies. He tries to stop him, but he stabs Zhu Shi. Bin Yuzheng tries to deal with it, and he puts the owner of the cursed body to rest. Everyone is tending to injuries, including Ni, who is saying, tells him to watch out before Lan Zhanqing stabs Mao Yao. Yeah, this guy from all the way in the beginning and a little bit of the middle, he comes out and he just stabs him. What I told you about him in the beginning, this is it. He did it in a way to manipulate the demise of Min Yao. I leave up front, Hu Zhang is not respected in the world he lives in, and he's more of a minor character than more than anything at a first glance. However, in my opinion, he is still very clever and careful. Always about the timing is with him. The time he was right on the money is showing he is to not be messed with. Even Min Yao tries to say how much he regrets his action, trying to show remorse. His action as he jumps to the coffin, gaining his power to amulet to let Lan Zhanqing escape. The other clans start to arrive, and Jin Ling tries to go after the Jin Cheng, stops him. Jin has something to say to Wu Zing. A flashback occurs at the ending of Jin Cheng's parents. We learn that he protected Wu Zing as a guard before chasing him, losing his golden core forever. That was kind of nice, even though he did some pretty terrible things, but he did this just to do it. Even losing his golden core? Yeah, that's pretty good, at least, storytelling-wise. We see, though, that when Wu Zing learns that Wen Yao was alive and old, raised by Lan Wangji. No, plot just because this was good. As the duo says goodbye, Lan Wangji and Wu Zing leave together, but now incompetent in their lives. And denial of how they felt for another is now gone. Wu Zing gives one final warning of the dark path Hu Zing could go down like he did. With a beautiful ending, at least the way that Zan and Wu Zing found themselves amongst all this chaos. Now, what did I think of this series as a whole? Well, first, I thought it was good for the beginning. I felt conflicted about the middle being chaotic and hard to follow, and the middle felt very satisfying. You think it would turn out bad for the two, but it was a story of redemption, something that Zan and Wu Zing, they found in each other. You never expected to find it in a lifetime, so how about a second one now? Sure, it took decades to do so, but it was worth it for Wu Zing and Nanji. I felt there were many parts that could have been improved, more info on other clans, and more use of ladies in general for cultivation. There should have been more female cultivators. I know there probably is, but not many that I saw that were prevalent. I have to admit, I hated this series first reading it, and watching, heck, it took multiple tries to get into it, but I think it's worth the ending, even if it felt like a little slow or too much in the moment. I think some characters grew on me, and some not so much. I still don't like Min Miao though, no matter what. Even if he has a sad backstory, that doesn't excuse anything he did. I even dislike him probably more than Yu Yang, because Yu Yang was at least really entertaining. I think as an outsider who isn't in a fandom of the Untamed and the demonic cultivators, it was hard to get into, but I see why it was well made. It's just some stuff personally I didn't really jive with. I hope this review was good enough to show my personal thoughts, and I hope it was good for a first-time review. If I missed anything, please comment below. I ask for no hate, because I'm still just someone of an outsider when it comes to looking into this kind of stuff. I hope to review more stuff in the future, actually. I hope everyone will like to see more. But I hope everyone had a good day for the most part, and enjoy this review. My final score for this series would be 8.3 out of 10.